Hello everybody. We are living in a fast-paced world where digitalization and social media has taken over all other platforms, and even if we are not able to reach out to our family and friends miles away, we are now connected to them through our screens, just a foot away. Looking good all the time has thus become a sort of necessity rather than only for some special occasions. You always want to present yourself as young, refreshing, with attractive, dazzling looks. And of course, when there is a special day in your life, you have to look your best, which can make all heads turn. Well, this is quite possible nowadays with the wonder product known as dermal fillers, which add magic to your natural looks, and today I am going to talk about these in length. I will tell you their indications and how they are different from much talked about botulinum toxin or Botox. Hello friends, I am Dr. Ashish Khare, Senior Consultant Plastic Surgeon at Kalosa Aesthetics, Delhi, Gurugram, India, and I am going to demystify facts about a female's best friend today, the dermal fillers. Please stay with me till the end to know some interesting facts about these, how we do the procedure, who are the ideal candidates, and what are the different indications, and also learn what are the different types of fillers available in the market. I am sure this video will clear all your doubts about dermal fillers. You can subscribe to our channel Kalosa Cosmetics to see more videos about plastic surgery and cosmetic surgery. Many of our population is now getting aware about these fillers thanks to the social media. But there is a little hitch still to try these today. I will try to clear many of your misconceptions and myths we have around these so that their acceptability is better. Now, first of all, there are misconceptions that fillers can be used everywhere and can fix up everything. It's important for patients to understand the potential limitations of having dermal fillers done. If patients understand the potential limitations of dermal fillers, then they are going to be able to present a more realistic concern to their doctors. So let us see, where does filler work best and where does the botulinum toxin works best? What is the basic difference between a Botox and a dermal filler? I will take a Botox in detail in one of my other videos. But for now, let us see the basic difference between Botox and dermal fillers. Botox is considered a neuromodulator which works on the muscle activity alone and are used to basically weaken muscle that create dynamic wrinkles. For example, the muscles of the forehead when we frown or look up. So when we inject these in the muscle, it's only going to control your muscle action. Botox comes in a bottle packaging and have to be used accordingly to the units being used. Now, when we talk about aging process, there is also loss of volume, which could be because of the loss of fat or collagen or hyaluronic acid in our body. Hyaluronic acid are natural moisturizers of our skin and helps in maintaining the youthful and radiant look. These decrease gradually with age and lead to volume loss with sagging of the overlying skin and tissue. Dermal fillers are basically hyaluronic acid gels mimicking natural hyaluronic acid in our body. When we inject that into the skin, it fills up the space within the tissue that we are trying to treat, so that dermal filler is used to actually increase the volume. They thus give a balanced contour to the face. A normal looking face may look more attractive and sparkle with that extra charm after using those small amount of filler on the face. These fillers are also natural in a way as they get decomposed gradually within your body. Now these fillers are FDA approved for facial anti-aging purpose. Another common misunderstanding is that because of the name of the dermal fillers, It implies that they are injected into the dermis of the skin only. But most of the time, they are actually injected much deeper than that. Usually in the subcutaneous tissue or the fatty tissues, or even much deeper, even down to the level of the bone. But do not worry, these do not pierce the bone and are safe. What are the common indications and areas where dermal fillers are used? The most common indication of fillers is to mask aging effects on your face and to make it look refreshed. If you want to look extra special for any special occasion and add that glitter to your face, you should definitely try fillers. The main area of its use are as follows. Firstly, the commonest area is the deep nasolabial fold. Filler is commonly placed in the cheeks because plumped up cheeks elevate the nasolabials. Also, earlier fillers used to be injected only in the nasolabial groove, but now we know the exact science behind this. The second area most commonly sought is that fillers for the under eye hollowness or tear trough deformity. People tend to lose fat beneath their eyes due to gradual aging, and that leads to a lot of hollowness. Also, nowadays, due to increased screen time in young population, that gives very tired look to the face. So putting fillers here strategically improves the overall look of the face. The next most common area is the cheek area. Fillers can replace the lost volume of the cheek. Also, if you want a high cheekbones to have that extra sparkle to your face, you can add that fillers. The hollow temples are also the most common area. Either it happens because of the genetic reasons where they have a lot of hollowness here, or with aging, this pair of fat gets dissolved and gives lot of sunken appearance, resulting in temporal fat loss. So we can give support to this area by injecting a filler. Also, if you want to raise the eyebrow, it can help by supporting the drooping eyebrows. Coming to the next area, that is the lips. It can make thin, unattractive lips voluminous, give desired pout and make them attractive. At the same time, very natural. Lip contour and definition can be improved. Another beautiful indication is in people with gummy spines who feel elated after filler treatment. The fillers can also be used to erase the superficial forehead lines. The another important indication is in the grooves which happen below the angle of the mouth, in case of the smokers, also called as the smoker line. Many patients come to me with a retruded chin or an underdeveloped chin or a small chin. We have a surgical option for that, but a non-surgical option is addition of filler. Chin can be augmented with fillers and your face can be redefined. Also, double chin, which can be made much better. A newer use of filler is a non-surgical rhinoplasty, also called as the liquid rhinoplasty. This is boon for those who do not want to go under the knife but want perfect nose shape. We will definitely cover this up in details in some other videos later on. Another new indication is drooping earlobes due to large holes which prevent a female from wearing long earrings. Fillers can give volume and give support that earlobe does not result in completely split lobules. Last but not the least, men are non-left apart. Fillers are done even in men and commonly men go for it. Fillers are used for under eyes as well as to improve their jawline area. A well-angulated jawline gives a very masculine look, and that can be done with a filler which makes the jawline stand out. What are the post-procedure precautions you need to follow? You have to take care of your posture just after the filler infiltration. In case of facial fillers, try not to put pressure on face or massage. Avoid sleeping with face down or in a prone position. Avoid vigorous exercises or running for at least 2 weeks post-procedure. And maintain adequate hydration of the body. Now, how is the procedure done? It is a simple OPD based procedure and can be easily done in your lunchtime break. Also, make sure you give your doctor complete medical history and inform about any blood thinners or sildenafil being consumed, which need to be stopped at least 5 days prior to the procedure. We usually advise to avoid consumption of alcohol or any food containing high sugars, spices and carbohydrates for 24 hours before filler therapy. We first ask the patient what are the problem areas according to them and what is the desired look they want and what are the expectations. Of course, those expectations have to be realistic. Then we assess ourselves and final areas to be treated are demarcated. We also assess if any additional procedure is required like Botox or a fat grafting in the later stages. Before the commencement of the actual procedure, a numbing cream is applied to the skin prior to the use so that the procedure does not feel painful. Then gradually, these fillers are injected into the desired area strategically. The procedure takes about 15 to 30 minutes approximately. You can be up and about after the procedure, but few precautions need to be followed. Let us get familiar with some common type of fillers used. As a patient also, you need to know what kind of fillers is being injected to you and what effect it can have in your body. The common one are the Restylane family or the fillers. There are many subtypes of this and each of these fillers do different things. These are hyaluronic acid gel-based fillers and are very versatile. As I told you before, hyaluronic acid basically are naturally occurring moisturizers on our skin, and when we inject them into the skin, they can act as a long-term fillers. They are also safe to use. Some are the subtypes of the Restylane family are the Restylane L and the Restylane Lift. These are basically used for nasolabial folds and chin augmentation. Whereas the Restylane Silk is also available, which is FDA approved for around the lips and the mouth. You can see the gel-based hyaluronic acid filler. We have another popular brand of fillers known as Juvederm fillers. The most important is Juvederm Ultra Plus. That is the one that can be used like a jack of all trades for a filler. We use quite commonly to treat the steep nasolabial folds. This also will absorb a little bit of water, so gives good plumping effect. Another great product of the family is the Voluma. Voluma is from the Juvederm family and this is a great filler for the cheeks. It's FDA approved to plump up the cheeks and restore the volume in our face. It can really help a lot of people to look younger, to take 5 to 10 years off without actual surgical facelift, and this is a great treatment for it. Now why hyaluronic acid fillers are preferred? If you start considering a hyaluronic acid filler, the great thing about it is 100% reversible. If you don't like it, if you have got a lump, if it's too much, if you are asymmetric, then the doctor can inject a hyaluronidase which melts that hyaluronic acid filler completely away. Don't choose the other ones that aren't reversible, as if you don't like it, they won't melt away. Another newer one is the Radiesse. The main advantage of Radiesse is that it is act very quickly in your skin. It stimulates the natural collagen in your body. It has a greater effect when compared to all other types of fillers and injectables. It also naturally decomposes after its shelf life. It leaves only your natural collagen as its mark. Radiesse is used in cheeks and around the nose region, but not on lips. Radiesse is ineffective on lips and it lasts for around 12 months. Limitations of dermal filler. You people need to understand that there are certain limitations of dermal fillers as well. Let us discuss them one by one. You need to understand that these fillers are not permanent and have an appropriate shelf life, which are different according to different fillers. Hence, they need to be repeated after a year and so top up touch-up sessions are required. Secondly, the best effect of fillers does not come immediately. After the procedure, there is some settling time. There is some edema, minimal bruising which need to be settled. So do not get these done too close to your special events. Always get them done at least 2 to 3 weeks prior to that special day so that everything settles down till then. Thirdly, another limitation of filler is that filler are probably not the best when you're looking at someone with panfacial volume loss. That is, volume loss throughout all the areas of the face, and usually these people are quite slim or exercise a lot, and it is actually very hard to replace volume through the entire face. Firstly, it requires a lot of filler, which can be prohibitive in terms of cost, but just getting the filler in every spot of the face would be a bit of an ordeal and quite a major procedure. So in these cases, the preferred treatment is fat transfer. If the patient has enough fat that we can harvest, say from their abdomen or the hips or thighs, it is done under anesthesia or can be done under local anesthesia as well. And the fat can put all over the face, and that is much nicer method of helping with panfacial volume loss. Fourth, another common mistake is to overdo things and inject more volume of fillers than actually required. This can definitely provide the instant difference in before and after images, but if you follow the patient after a while, you see undesired results. It often results in artificial look. There may be some migration of fillers also with time beyond the desired territory, and that may affect the results. We have to understand that filler is extremely hydrophilic. You can attract many times its weight in water. So it binds water and it enlarges and it gets more voluminous. Hence, it is always best to underdo than to overdo with fillers. With only the tiniest amount of filler and with careful placement of filler, it is actually possible to place filler very strategically in certain spots to actually lift someone's level of attractiveness from one level to the next level and really enhance their appearance. But this has to be done with a precision. You can stage your treatment, and if required, touch-ups can be given after a month if desired look is not achieved. The more filler you have, the more risk you have of blowing out their face and being overfilled. Whereas if you are very accurate with a small amount of filler, you have a greater likelihood of pinpointing the exact in the patient face and alleviating that problem with a small amount of filler. This is important to avoid artificial looks. Patients are also happy as they have spent less money, they look more attractive, they don't look overfilled and love their younger natural version. Complications and prevention. The less serious complications are bruising and the little edema, which subsides with time. The serious complication which we want to avoid is intravascular injection of the filler material. That's why you do really need to be choosy on who does your filler. He should be a qualified, experienced doctor, should be well aware of the anatomy of the face. If accidentally injected into the blood vessel of a face, that can cause horrible complications, ranging from scarring, tissue necrosis, or even partial or complete vision loss. Hence, safety of the patient should be looked on a priority basis. Few prevention tips. As I already told you, always getting it done from an experienced plastic surgeon or a dermatologist is super important. It is a medical treatment and requires certain level of expertise. The safest to start with is the hyaluronic acid filler, and always check from your doctor whether they have a hyaluronidase available or not. Hyaluronidase is the antidote. There is no point in having an antidote available and not having it in the clinic. It can sometimes reverse effect immediately if gone wrong. Thirdly, whenever possible, use a cannula. Cannulas are long, blunt needles that we inject the fillers with. It costs us a little extra. It's not a guarantee that you won't get into a blood vessel with it, but it lowers the risk of that happening, and so we use cannulas wherever possible for optimal safety. Fourth point is that it's always better to go parallel to the skin rather than perpendicular, where there are chances that you can hit the vessel. Also go slow rather than bombarding all the amount quickly, so never rush the doctor. So I hope this was helpful for you. Any experienced doctor will be able to help guide you and tell you exactly what can and can't be achieved with your filler treatment. It is also important to remember the limitations of fillers, as fillers are only one part of holistic approach to rejuvenate your face. Hopefully, with this information you will be able to explain to your practitioner what exactly you want and you achieve your desired youthful, dazzling look. For more plastic surgery videos, please subscribe our channel Kalosa Cosmetics and also see our website kalosaesthetics.in and www.kalosa.in for more information. Thank you.